Hey, what's up? So today I have for you a Subterror deck profile. This deck is really interesting. Um, Mainly it runs around monsters that try to interrupt your opponent and try to basically dwindle their resources down to where they can't really do much of anything. And then you go in for the next turn, and then you go in for attacks and stuff like that. Now this deck really likes to grind out games. So whenever you hear control in like a deck profile or anything, you're gonna probably have a grind deck. With the new ban list that just came out, this deck is a little bit shaky. It used to be not playable at all. However, now I think it kind of has a little bit of a bounce back to it. Um, Now you can notice that right off the bat there is no extra deck that I'm going to be putting in this profile. The reason why is because it's not really needed. However, you should run one because we're going to be running Pot of Extravagance in this deck. Um, Now there's not really anything that you might need. If you think of something, go for it, but yeah, you don't really need an extra deck at all. So let's go ahead and get into the cards here. So first we have three Subterror Guru. Now this is kind of the bread and butter of the deck. So there's a lot of monster control with this deck, so this deck's really weak to spells and traps. However, there are some ways to get around it with this profile. However, Guru is the main guy. So what this does, it has a flip effect, and it says you can add one Subterror card from the deck to your hand, except for itself. And then it has another effect that's not on the flip. But basically, it says you can target one other face-up monster on the field. That's anything, including theirs. Um, change that monster, also this card to face down defense position. So it has a way to really set itself. So that's kind of how the control variant goes. Um, then it says this is a quick effect if you control another Subterror card. Um, you can only use each effect once per turn, obviously. However, there's some really cool interactions with this card and other cards that we run that really kind of are pretty much going to interrupt your opponent almost all the time. So the next card we run is three Subterra Fiendus. Um, so this card is your Omni Negate. Uh, some people run two. I like to run three just in case it gets negated because then they're gonna have to bait out some other negate for that negate. Um, but what this card reads is pretty much a hand trap. So when your opponent activates a card or effect, so that's anything, um, you can quick effect, send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. A lot of people forget that if it's on the field, you can send it from the field. Um, and then target one Subterror monster you control, negate the activation, and change that target to face down defense position. So basically, if you have Guru face up on the field, you can use Phoenix to negate something and just set this face down. Um, then it has another effect that reads, you can target one face-up monster you control, change it to face-down defense position, and if you do, special summon one Subterror monster from your hand or graveyard. Um, in face-up or face-down defense position. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, um, what you can pretty much do is that if you have Guru out or anything like that, or even if you just have this in your hand, you can normal summon it and then flip itself face down to get something from your graveyard. So it's a really awesome card. It's really what kind of makes this deck move and actually a little bit playable. Um, How we're running a little bit of a budget variant. This whole deck is budget. You can pick this deck up for probably about I don't know. You can run other things other than what I'm running that might be a little bit more expensive, but 50, $60. It's not expensive at all. Um, so next we're on to Subterra Behemoth I never say this right. Umastrix. So what this reads is kind of like it's almost in a way your boss monster, but not really your boss monster. Um, you can target one monster your opponent controls, banish it, and you can only use this effect of Subterror once of itself once per turn. Um, when a face-up monster you control is flip face down, and if you control no face-up monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. So basically, if you have Guru out and you have this in your hand, it gets flipped face down. Then you can special summon this out and face up, face down defense. A lot of people don't really like to run this card because it really can clog up your hand if you don't draw into anything decent. Um, I like it though. I like the free banish. It really clears out the board instead of just trying to beat over everything, and it kind of makes your grind a little bit less grindy. But it's a little bit difficult to get this out other than with Fiendus. If you have no ways to flip or if you don't have any Subterrors out in the field at all. However, usually with this deck, that's not really a problem. You're probably going to draw into a Garnet that's going to get you to Guru. So next is we have one Subterror Nemesis Archer. This card's pretty decent. You can run it at 2. I run it at 1 just because same thing with the other thing you can clog. Basically, is it reads at the start of the damage step. If this card attacks opponent's face down defense position monster, and you control another Subterror monster, you can shuffle that opponent's monster into the deck so it has a way to remove. If this card is on the field, is destroyed by battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Subterror monster from your deck in face up or face down defense position. So it really kind of special summons this out for free, or your Guru for free if you need. Most of the time, you're going to go for Guru. However, the requirement to get that out is that you have to crash into it. And if you're in turn 1, there's no way to get this destroyed. So that's why I run it at 1. I don't really want to see it at 2 and then have 2 in my hand turn 1. Next is we have just 1. I would say run this at 2, but I only have the 1. I think it's still just perfectly fine at 1 if you draw it. So what it is, Lord of Heavenly Prison. It's a rock. Basically, it reads, during your main phase, you can activate this effect. This card in your hand becomes revealed until the end of your opponent's turn. While this card is revealed by this effect, set cards on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects. And if a set spell trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if you activated the effect while this card is revealed, you can reveal and set one spell or trap directly from your deck, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn. You can only use each effect once per turn, pretty much. So basically, it's really good for getting to other Subterror cards, like let's say Guru got negated. With adding your cards, you can basically reveal this, can't be destroyed in any way, and then if a set card gets activated, you can special summon it. Normally, you would want to special summon it on your turn, because you can special summon it out and then have a 3,000 beat stick and then go over things and all that good stuff. And then usually you want to set like some other Subterror cards with that. So yeah, really good, really good one. So that's kind of it for like the main line of like things that you pretty much need in this deck. At least monster wise. So next we have 3 Ash Blossoms with the new ban list. Ash Blossom is going to be really, really good, because a lot of decks right now are going to be searching again. So you should main deck Ash Blossom right now. So next we have 3 Effect Veilers. We really like to control the monsters on the field, and Effect Veiler is just perfect for this. You can ditch it and then get that free negate. There's not much to be said about that, but that's really all the monsters we run. So let's go ahead and scoop these up. Next, we have our spells. So the first thing is 3 Hidden City, no more, no less. Obviously, can't have more. So with a Hidden City, this reads, when this card is activated, you can add 1 Subterror monster from your deck to your hand. So this is a way to get to Guru. This is like one of the many ways. And then it reads, once per turn, you can change 1 face down defense position monster or Subterror monster you control to face up attack or defense position. And then once per turn, you can, when your opponent monster declares an attack, you can change 1 face down defense position monster you control to face up attack position or attack or defense position, and then negate the attack. So basically with this is that you would activate it and then you would get your Guru, set Guru, and then use its effect to flip. This flip effect will go off. Then you get to search out a Fiendus or whatever else you need. But most of the time you're going to get a Fiendus. However, if you already have a Fiendus in your hand, you're going to be wanting to get one of the other spell or trap cards, because this searches cards, not just monsters. But Hidden City is amazing. Attack, negate, auto search. I think there's other things with this ruling too that, like, if it's I don't know, I don't want to speak on it just because I don't know entirely. So next we have a zombie world, and then we have a necro valley. Your deck does not care if it's all zombies, and your deck doesn't really use the graveyard other than with Fiendus. So with their second effect, a special summon from the hand or graveyard. Um, you can't special summon from the graveyard, but you can still do it from your hand. However, both of them are amazing in this deck. Decent floodgates. The reason why we're running it and why you don't want to keep, or why you might not want to use Hidden City all the time, is because once you use Hidden City, let's say turn one, you activate Hidden City, have all that good stuff, and then they try to attack and negate it, or negate the attack with Hidden City. Usually after that, you're not gonna need Hidden City anymore. Um, it's nice to keep out for getting things if you need to get things. However, once you are done searching for almost everything that you need, like if you already have a Phoenix in hand, if you already have one of the traps that we have, if you already have that in hand, if you already have the Umastrix in hand, like once you grind to that point, then you don't really need this card anymore. It becomes a little bit useless other than just the attack negate. Um, so that's why we're running two extra floodgates. Necro Valley is obviously more important. If you'd like to run two Necro Valleys, go ahead and do that. If you'd like to run two Zombie Worlds, you can do that. However, both are fine. So next we have Terraforming to search out any of them. If you already have Hidden City, then you just search for the other ones. And then we have a set rotation. You can do some funny things with set rotation. You can basically, you can either set your Hidden City or set your Necro Valley. Um, or you can do Hidden City Zombie World. Or if you don't even need your Hidden City and you already used everything, that you can just do Necro Valley and Hidden City and then set the Hidden City on their side, you know? Um, or if they play a field spell, you could just have them both set and then continue on with the game so they can't use their field spell. But really awesome card, really good to get to everything turn one especially. So next we have Called by the Grave. This really helps with trying to make sure that your cards don't get negated like Ash or anything, because Guru can be ashed. Um, Really decent hand starter. If you don't draw it, then you're probably going to be ended up using it later on in the grind. Now we have a little bit of our draw power here. So we have two duality. Uh, you can run three because you're not really special summoning with this deck. But two duality is fine. That way you can fit in other things. Um, and then we have three pot of extravagance, because since we don't need our extra deck, like I mentioned before, you could just dump everything and then just continue on from there. Um, and then our very last spell is Subterror Cave Clash. So with this card, it reads all Subterror monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense for each set monster on the field. Once per turn, when a Subterror monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one Subterror card in your graveyard except for itself and add it to your hand. So it's recursion. You don't need this more than one. I see a lot of decks running this at two. You're gonna end up searching this with Guru later on. However, you don't need two, because if you draw one of them in your opening hand, then that's bad news, because it's going to be a little while before you start inflicting damage. Um, but it recurs back your Fiendus or anything else that you need from your graveyard. So that's it for the spells. Awesome spell lineup. It's nothing too crazy. Like I said, this deck is control. There's a lot of things that are going to get you to that point. So next is we have another bread and butter of the deck is two Subterror Final Battle. So there are some fun interactions with this card. Let me go ahead and read it first. Activate one of these effects. Also, after that, set this card face down instead of sending it to the graveyard. Whenever you set it, you can't activate it again, obviously, because it was just set. And that's how trap cards work. So this first bullet here says change one set Subterror monster on the field to face up attack or defense position. So that's basically another way to get your search off with Guru. And then the next one reads change one face up Subterror monster on the field to face down defense position. So if you need something to be set again, you can activate this, and if you have Umastrix in hand, then you can actually special summon it off of that. So because then that will be set. Actually, no, it doesn't get special summoned, because Umastrix only, I think it's only when, so you want to be careful about that. There's some weird ruling with Umastrix being special summoned. I think it's when you can Yeah, when. So this does it after for something. So don't do that. Don't listen to that. Next is the next bullet is attack and defense of one Subterror monster on the field becomes equal to its combined original attack and defense till the end of this turn. So it's so weird how the math works. What I'm understanding, what I've been told, is that it um it's basically you add them together and then they both become that. So 1600 plus 1800 is that attack, and then the added them together that's attack, and then the added them together is the defense. Basically, this is going to be a big speed stick. So um, that's kind of how you are going to start doing damage with the deck. And then whenever you get to that grind point, then that's when it's really going to be hard for them to get over your Subterror cards. So yeah. And then the last one is this turn activated effects of Subterror cards cannot be negated. So that's good for protection if you really need to kind of get some other things that you need in order for the next turn to be played. So uh, basically, it's just good with that. So next we have 3 Imperm to interrupt your opponent. Imperm's awesome. Good opening start to your hand. Good to set. Nothing much said there. Next is we have Solemn Strike. We already don't like monsters being on the field, and if they are, they get flipped. However, Solemn Strike is amazing with this. So next is we have 2. There can be only one. I don't really want to run this at 3. A little bit too cloggy at that point. I would like to see this every once in a while. It's not necessary to win. However, it's a good card because everything in your deck, like Guru and Fiendus, is Dragon Spellcaster. You don't need you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to affect you. So and then lastly is we have 1 Metaverse. I know this is at 3. However, for reasons that like we need to get some things in to interact with our opponent, Metaverse at 1 is fine. It's just giving us another out to having some way of getting to Guru. Now for the total count of anything that can get to Guru, obviously drawing is first. These can get to Guru. These can get to Guru. Um, Basically these cards can get to Guru. And then I think that's it. Archer can get to Guru. Basically there is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ways to get the Guru. So that's 1/4 of your deck that you're probably gonna draw into firsthand in order to get to Guru. Some of it might not be turn 1, however, most of it is. Just because there's spells and all that. But this deck is really, really cool. I really, really like it. I haven't played it at locals yet, but I have been play testing with it. And almost every single hand I've drawn, I have been able to get to Guru. However, there might be some rulings that I would like to point you towards with it. Is like one I actually ended up messing up in this video is the Umastrix. This card, I was warned. I believe it's really hard to kind of get out on the field because everything like Fiendus or like um, the Subterra Final Battle, they all have other effects. Because this one says after that set this card. So for example, if I have use Final Battle and then use it to flip Guru face down, then I can't summon this out because this is a when and that misses timing. So it misses timing on itself. That's why people don't really like to run that card. However, I think this deck can really do some decent stuff here in this upcoming meta that's happening. Just because getting things face down right now is kind of like the move in order to really counter your opponent and then keep their board open. So yeah, this deck is really awesome. Let me know what you think. I loved all the love that has come my way, and I hope to get some of these out for you. Some more deck profiles. I have a I'll give you a hint. It's an insect deck coming out soon. So go ahead and give that a look whenever things come in for that. I really like to show that off. I think it's a really awesome deck. But yeah, thank you.